to my friends. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm just waiting for the other screen to update, and then I'll change it to public, and then we're going. Okay, here we go. Oh, there we can hear the voices. That's a good sign. Okay. Okay, everybody, we are live. This is Paul Handreader, and beside me here, I have Amarthya. He's a beautiful soul that I've met, and we've been having some really deep discussions. He's based in Moscow, Russia right now, but I will pass it over to him. He can introduce himself, and we'll start our discussion.
So my name is Amarthya, and I'm a metaphysical teacher and a light worker, and I am passing on. Right now, I'm helping people all over the world to be their better version, to be their true self, to be embodied in their truest of their self without, like, in this way I can put it. The things which I am actually passing on to people right now are in this way. I have gone in a shamanic journey where I have met with the Great Spirit back in the 2019, where I was knowing for everything what was supposed to come, what came in 2020. So I was like, how can I really lead humanity for the time to come? Now, I was knowing it, but I was not having clarity over there. So that moment, what happened is the Great Spirit actually filled me with everything what I needed to do and how to actually proceed. So I have been actually giving out teachings, which is a channeled, all of the channeled stuffs from Great Spirit. And that has been actually helping people since some time right now. And everyone has been actually be very much happy about it. And they're really doing good. One of my student, I would really love to actually give his example. He's from UK right now. His name is Thomas. And his energy changed drastically in past 1 year. So last day I was talking with him on the phone. I completely felt his crystalline energy. Like, it was amazing shift. Later, 1 year ago, what was happening is I was like, he's in UK army. So he was all anxious about it, about his things going into war and stuff. So he changed completely. And the thing is that I'm really happy to actually assist people in their own stuffs right now. So this is exactly what I'm doing. And I'm also doing it more because this is exactly what I'm actually here for.
So Amarthya and I were talking about purpose a little while ago. We were talking about he thought we were live already, but we were just talking about what was coming up today and building new foundations and kind of key guiding principles. I think that's maybe what we're going to talk about here is just new ways to hold yourself, new perspectives that reality hasn't really shared with us in 3D around things like integrity. And let's talk about your two words here in a sec that we were just talking about, and just kind of go underneath and show people how that builds a new foundation, because our world is crumbling underneath us. The foundation that we're standing on is corrupt. It's about not telling truth, and it's about hurting other people and stealing and all these things. All our morals have somehow just been degraded. And for us to rebuild ourselves as a light being, we need these new foundational steps. So you had a couple that were really important for you. So how would you like to start off with those?
So the thing which is really happening right now is people are pretty much dependent on this system. That's exactly what I'm saying. And this system, as we know, it's completely fear-based. Now, that's exactly what they're showing.
Control-based, yep.
Control-based. So now what I show, like, I'll just give one of my experiences. So last year when the COVID-19 started and the whole world went in lockdown, I was literally having my best time. But why? Because, oh wow, this is the exact thing I was waiting for. And it happened. But a lot of people was going through their own struggles, and people in my family too. So my dad came towards me, said, my salary is not coming. So I said to my dad, you have to right now, I know, I understand what you're going through, but in this process, you will be harming yourself. It's not that you are only going through it, the whole world is going through it. So you are not the one. So how you can balance it, that's exactly what you have to go through. I would suggest what you are truly passionate about and what you're truly create, like what you want to be, what you want to create. Yeah, I know each and every human being on this planet is creative about something. They can create something. What you are passionate about, that's exactly what you should really be inclined towards. Now, another thing is this control. This program is so much into human, it's so much into it that people cannot really let go of it. Like what I will do without it. I have been so much dependent on this system, as a codependent is always dependent on a narcissist. I know the relationship is not really working and won't really go anywhere, but I'm still dependent on it. So because the narcissist always projects fearful, oh, if you do this, I will do this. But she doesn't really need it, or he doesn't really need it. This is a projective illusionary reality is being always projected. That's fear. That's control. That's exactly what this system does on whole mass collective consciousness.
That's interesting. I've never heard it said that way, but yeah, it's narcissism. It's a bunch of people that know better than everybody else and forcing them to be controlled into doing what makes them feel safe. It has nothing to do with our safety. Go ahead.
So now I feel that what people should really ask them is, should I what I should do right now? They should, like, without, like last day what we were talking about is conscious creation. Okay, so each and every choices we take, everything will have its cause and effect. Everything will have its cause and effect. So I feel that people should really ask themselves that, should I really need it, or I can do something else? Because right now, if I have to work in an organization, I need to be vaccinated. Now, if I'm vaccinated, then I'll be altering my DNA. And I'll be more and more in this control system. And I will be giving out my body, I'll be giving out my mind. It's all for the others to be controlled. So this is exactly what I'm born for.
Yeah.
This is exactly how I can be free. Now, in this world, there is no one who doesn't want to be free and who doesn't want to actually create a life of joy, safety, inner security, abundance, living the best life possible. There is no one in this world who doesn't want to do that. So can I live my dream, what the vision of what I have, like how I want to live, or how I want to provide it to my loved ones or to my family in this way, by doing it? Because I'm seeing what is really going on. In this way, can I make my true foundation, or did I ever had a true foundation in my life? Now,
so just while you're there, so what I say that point is where you have to find what's your why, because people have been fooled into getting exactly what you think it is: the abundance, the happiness, the love, the whatever. It now the new normal is you have to get a vaccination before you do that thing. And they're trying to get there, but they're trying to find a way that's been inserted into the collective that says that's the only way you're going to get there. But there are other ways. There are sovereign ways that you're saying, build a new foundation, but we have to understand the why. Is it to please everybody else and make them safe? There's a mistake there. There's something wrong in your mind. It's programmed. Is it for me? So Now, the why we have to deal with is, why am I doing it to make other people feel safe? Just because we've always been told that. But is that making us feel safe? Is that honoring our body? So
Exactly.
agreeing with what you're saying. So continue building a new foundation.
And also about beside honoring the body, honoring the soul, because if I am not really listening to myself, my true self, what I truly want, each and every step will be towards traumatizing the soul.
Mhm.
And as the soul is traumatized, what will be happening? More and more fragmentation of the soul happens.
Mhm.
And as more and more fragmentation of the soul happens, we are losing more and more of that ability to actually consciously create the life we want or the foundation we want. And as the more and more the fragmentation of the soul happens, what is happening? There is void creating more and more inside the self. Now universe doesn't really like to actually keep any empty spaces, so every other spaces will be filled up by entities or foreign energies, which is not really the
Right.
persons.
So when you're fragmenting like that, I call it prostituting yourself. You're giving up your morals, your standards, your beliefs to make someone else happy so that they'll be okay with you, so that you can have it for yourself, but they'll never give it back to you. And like you said, the entities come in, the darkness comes in through your anger and gives you more of the same, so that you stay there and they can feed and they can take your good vibrations away and you're lost, right?
Exactly. That's true.
Mhm.
Now, another thing is, as we were talking last day about this relationships as the stepping stones, as a very important part towards self mastery or self realization, to actually
Spiritual
mastering
awakening. Yep.
oneself.
Keep going. Yep.
So the thing which we were talking, I'll just add that thing also, because relationship with the self needs to happen first, very
Mhm.
much. Like
Absolutely.
it has to go deeper and deeper into the self before we can actually have a relationship with another person outside, because the other person with whom we will be, or I will be having a relationship with,
Mhm.
or a friend's relationship, or any kind of relationship, would be a reflection of that part within.
Mhm.
So
And a key way to keep you from having self-love is to teach you that it needs to come from someone else. So you always give up yourself first to get that validation, which is a key in control.
mhm.
So self-love is the key for anything and everything. It's the starting
Yeah.
point of a foundation. Keep going.
So the thing is that this love, self-love,
Mhm.
is is a very mysterious thing. It cannot be understood, and most of people all around the world, they try to understand love. They try to understand love, and now love can be understood by right brain hemisphere. Now, 90%, 99% of human beings love with their right brain. They don't love from their heart space. They're like, I don't blame them, but I like it's kind of like, if someone is loving someone unconditionally, now that person actually says something, now the other person actually feels irritated and pissed off, that's because they're loving from the right brain hemisphere. Now that person can do anything and everything, and this should not piece of the other person, because they are loving from the heart space unconditionally. It's a very different thing. Now what I say is, this world is completely into the idea of love. Now that person doesn't actually love me, that person is having an idea that that person is really loving me.
Mhm.
So that's exactly what creates relationships nowadays, which leads to someone being very much dominated,
Mhm.
because that person truly needs it. That person
Mhm.
is not having love for themselves, but that
Mhm.
person is truly needed. And the other
Mhm.
person is submissive, who is always a giver. And
Mhm.
giver in a way that that person is not really giving thyself.
Mhm.
That person is outward focused and giving outside.
Mhm.
And in that way, it's there because of the fragmentation of the soul. The soul, if their fragmentation was not there, if that there the space was filled and the space was whole, then this would not happen. The love, which I said, is conviction and surrendering, not domination and submission. Because if I am submitting to something which is not love, that means it's not the truth. Then am I being truthful and am I being truly in love? I feel if people start to question themselves, because people actually, it's very important to actually wake up. Questioning thyself is very important, and that's when they will start to understand, because in that way they can work with their both of their hemispheres. Now, this is really true? This person is really truthful. Now this person actually can create a lot of illusionary reality, which is manipulation. Now that person can actually feel it. Oh, this person is really manipulative. Oh, if this person is really manipulative, how this person can be truthful about something? Okay, if this person is not truthful, then why the hell I am here in this reality and I'm not really living the best life possible?
But the key test, you said the word earlier, is love has to come from unconditionality. The minute you put a condition on love, the dominant, the submissive, all these things, am I loved for this reason? If you cannot see that person without a condition and love them, it's like, I'll love you as long as you don't hang around with other women. I'll love you as long as you stay in my house and give me your money. I'll love you as that's what conditional love is. Now, the soul fragmentation you're talking about, we give part of ourselves. I can speak to my parents. My parents are 50% of each other. And they're scared shitless that one's going to die. And then that 50% of them will be gone. So they've given themselves so much and they've mixed themselves, their sovereignty so much, it's not unconditional anymore. The condition is you have to stay alive or you're going to kill me. You have to stay not sick or you're going to scare me, because we've got conditionality. It's like we've hooked in and attached so much, we can't love freely. What happens when you break up from a relationship and 50% of your love was of that person? 50% of your love is gone. Your soul is gone. And if you know, unless you know how to control it, bring it back, get your sovereignty back, release everything, we fragment and we start to suffer massively.
Exactly. So now over here, I do something like it can only be done through in altered states of consciousness. So if people are becoming rigid, they cannot actually do it. So they have to see themselves as a point of awareness, which is just nothing. Which is just nothing. For example, it's kind of like this, that part of awareness doesn't have any memories, any desires, nothing it wants. It is just beingness, and it is just staying there, and it's just witnessing and observing.
Okay. So the observer, what are you trying to repair by doing this? So we get that frame of reference.
So it's about bringing that power back.
Okay.
So now that person actually feels that, oh, I'm just addressing as person B. So B feels powerless because the power he or she has given that power away. So being in that state of awareness, pure awareness, now B is not B anymore. B is the pure awareness of B, and also that other person, and also everything around, that our pure awareness is present everywhere. So being in that higher presence, B can actually love unconditionally to itself, and hence bring that power, fragmentation of that power, back to the self.
And the only reason you got fragmented is you put conditionality on it, that you needed to be loved that way, or you gave away part of yourself and you consciously didn't even know you did it.
Exactly. So but there are so many things. For example, I was doing a soul retrieval journey, and in that way I had to know the traumas of the other person, and the traumas can go back 10 years, 20 years, 30 years ago. So some traumas this fragmentation of this fragmented self can stay in that space and time when the trauma actually happened. For example, the trauma happened when the person was 7 years old. So that part of the fragmented self is staying in that space and time of when that person is 7 years old. Now, what I do is I teach them, and also when I do soul retrieval journey, is I go back in that space and time to uh, you know bring that self back to the wholeness of the person's soul. In that way, that person can actually have this emotion which everything was suppressed inside, and can remember, oh, every details of everything what that person experienced at that time is coming up to the surface. So that person has to go through it to actually completely be in acceptance of the self, and from a higher perspective. For example, it's the person is 30 years old, so right now the person has actually experienced a lot of things in his or her life. So with that understanding and the higher perspective, acceptance of the self, hence acceptance of the experiences it happened he or she experienced when it was 7 years old, and hence moving through that, starting a journey and a process to actually integrate this part
So,
and grounding.
so that point that you're taking back to the 7-year-old child, there was actually a trauma at that point, and they fragmented themselves. They chose to hide a piece of that self, the wound, or say, okay, I'll comply because you got attacked or you got raped or something, but there was a lot of energy that wasn't expressed in the body. You go back and you talk about it and you express it out of the body so that they can be free from that choice, literally, because we gave up a piece of ourselves. That's what all trauma is what I see. So I call that trauma release that you're talking about. You call it soul retrieval. But we go back to the point of trauma, hold a really strong container for them so that they can express and they can cry and they can scream, they can release. And then once that's released, that block or that thing that reprogrammed them that says, I don't want that anymore, or I got to be a good girl or a good boy or whatever, can now a new decision can be made. And now you're free, you get your power back.
So, and another thing, what happens is, the soul, what I say is the soul is like a flower and also like the sun. So a flower, when a trauma is happening on the flower, it fragments instantly, because the dense energy of the trauma, like the trauma is the energy of the trauma, like when the situation is happening, is so dense, it is not able to take it. So it fragments so that the person is not feeling completeness of the trauma. So it fragments itself. It goes back to either it stays in that space and time, or it goes back from where the soul has incarnated. So it's kind of what I do is joining to that space and time, or to the dimension. Like we have these upper worlds, lower worlds, and middle world. It can be there, and what I do is bringing back that thing, the part, and then the integration process starts for the self, for that person.
So the key I find, once you've gone back to that point and you release the trauma, what was done to protect the trauma from ever being poked, for the emotion to be felt or the pain, you build all these rules. We call it armor. So it's like, let's say you were raped. I'm never going to go around dad again, or I'm never going to wear a nice dress, or never going to let him in my room, or whatever. And these create walls. They create, your whole reality shrinks, because now it's like, I can't be around father figures. I can't be around this kind of thing because they scare me. And then we're 40 or 50 years old and all of us, and not even able to interact with other people because of this thing we're protecting ourselves from.
Exactly.
And this is one of the fundamentals we were talking about. Vulnerability is to get back to the point where you can talk about these things. You can start to show that rawness and give an opportunity for that bubble to start to percolate and start to release the energy with other people that can hold space for you. You don't have to be with a healer. You just need to be vulnerable enough that you can clearly show your emotion without feeling afraid or shrinking. So it's a beautiful process, this soul retrieval, but you have to look at hard energy.
uh, another thing which I just yeah. So there is something which also something else came up. I would really love to actually talk about it.
Go ahead.
So someone is saying individual reality are relatives. One soul as the many. I don't see that as soul fragments, but many personalities that experience time and space. No, it's the soul fragmentation of the soul. How I am talking here, it's very different from the way you said, and it's very different. I'm sorry about it, but you are not really getting what truly fragmentation of the soul is
Well,
truly
I can
exact.
see it in one other perspective, is that it's kind of like the Matrix. Every decision is made in the moment. So you can choose to be traumatized or not choose to be traumatized, be angry, whatever. And individual selves kind of go off. But the one that you're dealing with that has the wound is the one you have to deal with, right? So you've
Exactly.
chosen this single incarnation version. So I can see Randy's idea, but there's other parts of you that never had that trauma and you became rich or you became famous, but you lived all of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this experience of mine can actually bring that thing, because this experience I had, I guess, in last year. I guess last year I have had this experience. So I was talking with a person who was from Canada. It was my previous profile. So before Facebook actually took out my profile. So I was talking with that person, and I felt like pulled towards this person, that I should text this person, because this person may be going through something. I just felt it. We never talked before. So I asked, how are you? And is everything fine? So that person says, no, nothing is really fine. So, so would you really love to share with me what's really happening, what you're experiencing? No, nothing came out there. So yeah, I would really love to share, but then nothing came. So that person is not feeling safe to share, or maybe that person was busy. So what I did is I was experiencing many things at that very moment. I was having I was talking with 8, 9, 10, more than 10 people. Like, it was kind of like a lot of people I was talking, and I was seeing individually they were having the same kind of experiences. Okay, so the vibration and the patterns of those experiences were the same. And now, if I put myself into this reality, I can see, that's there similarities in the experiences. So what I did, I was like, I went to this person back, whom I was talking with from Canada. And I said, oh, you are experiencing all these things exactly. So how I understood, I took all of these patterns of this collective experience, and I said to this person, oh, is it these things you are experiencing? And it was like a whole experience, a message I typed for that person. That person was like shocked. How do you know all these things? Because this person is not really saying it, but a lot of people were actually talking with me in the same way. Oh, brother, I'm experiencing all these things. So the vibration of the whole reality, the whole collective reality was the same. So it was very much okay. I realized that this person being in the same vibration as I'm feeling it is also experiencing the same thing. So it was like the whole 10 to 12 people who I was talking with is experiencing the same thing at that time.
And that's why vulnerability is so important, right? If you're in a sharing circle of 20 different people, you're sharing something really vulnerable. I was raped, or this happened to me in my past. Probably at least 5 are going to experience it from the victim, and maybe 5 out of that 25 are experiencing it from the perpetrator. And now all of a sudden they're getting an opportunity to have this energy that's collective, because it's happening over and over and over again to a whole bunch of different souls, to be freed. It's like letting it go, letting the shame out of it, letting all the charge out of it, so that both sides can talk. And it's like, oh, well, the perpetrator is like, well, my father did it to me, and I've always felt this need to hurt someone else because I couldn't do it. And now all of a sudden the perpetrators looked in a different way. It's a wounded child instead of a demanding man that raped or whatever, or vice versa with the woman. It's like to see the woman's side. It's like, oh, I was so vulnerable and open and I wanted something beautiful to happen, but they took, and now I'm hurt. Now in that discussion, you can start to understand the energies underneath and understand they're not weird, they're not wrong, they're not bad, they're not perverted. They're just an energy that's continually played out that needs to be
Exactly.
closed by being seen. And once they've been witnessed and all the energy's been let out, they don't exist anymore.
Exactly.
And that's the
Yeah.
group piece. You've dealt with the individual piece. They'll release that energy. But what about the perpetrator? Did his energy get released? All you can do is forgive if you're not there anymore. But if you're speaking in community, that perpetrator energy is let out by 4 other perpetrators that did similar things to somebody else, and we're all free.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It's the magic of community, the magic of sharing, the magic of vulnerability.
No, sometimes if the person who is causing it, doesn't really want to face it, so in that way that person is completely absent from this vibration, which can actually liberate himself or herself.
Well,
So
if you read what Randy just wrote, he said one soul is chosen to do the assumptions of your 20 soul or I can't read the rest of it, that you are your soul family collective. So in shamanism, which you and I both believe, we believe that 10 generations of our lineage trauma were given the medicine to heal. That's essentially what Randy's saying, is we came here with enough courage, stamina, belief, etc., to be able to clean that up for 20 soul family members. And that can be, if you go up 10 lineages, that can be millions of people once you start talking children and daughters and grandchildren and stuff like that. So by being this and being able, your gift to be able to expose this for people gets it out in the open, so it no longer is in the darkness. It brings light to everything.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
So yeah, that's exactly. And now the beside this soul retrieval thing, what can really happen to someone is fragmentation of the heart. Now soul actually doesn't get fragmented first. That's the thing. That's something which I realized with the work I've been doing. So the soul doesn't get fragmented first. What get fragmented first is power, our own inner core power. After that is after that goes out, after that is given out, what fragments is our heart.
Agreed. And that can happen over lifetimes as well, by the way, but keep going.
And after that, after the heart gets fragmented, then the soul gets fragmented. Now the thing is that
just to confirm, you can literally give pieces of your heart to other people as part of love, and that's how it starts fragmenting. But keep going.
So because the unconditional love, the heart doesn't get fragmented. It's a complete presence. So what I realized is the soul cannot get fragmented until the heart gets fragmented. If the heart gets fragmented, only then the soul gets fragmented. Because it's kind of like the thing which I was like, there was a moment when there was a story going on in a religious group that God can restore the grace of an angel. If the angel is fallen, God itself can restore the grace of an angel. Now, over here, if I'm putting that metaphor over here, the heart is God itself. And unless the heart is gone, it's fragmented, the soul is not gone. The soul will always be connected with the spirit, and the soul will not face that abyss, that thing what we call in Kabbalah, there is an abyss between the soul and the spirit. So the soul will be always connected with the spirit. So so that's exactly. So the heart, if the heart is fragmented, then only the soul gets fragmented.
Interesting. I agree.
So yeah.
So it's about always coming back to ourselves, right? We talked about foundation. It sounds like we can't have a foundation without our heart being complete. And then otherwise our soul fragments, and then that soul gets exhausted. And the whole process of darkness, the whole process of control has been about fragmenting our heart, fragmenting our soul, so we're not complete, and we just these restless spirits trying to fulfill, but we can't create, we can't do anything because all our energy and our power has been taken from us, right?
Exactly.
And we give it
Exactly.
because we thought that was the right thing to do, but it's wrong. It's a mistake.
Exactly. So now the thing is that um, this thing about building the foundation, what we were talking about, the system is wanting us to completely give ourselves out so that this system can actually control, as you said. So if the self is completely not there, then the system has it. Then actually the self becomes the system.
Well, we're not sovereign anymore. We've combined with to give more power to something outside of ourselves. And then we feel oppressed and we feel tyranny and all these things. But that's what we're doing, right? It's like everybody's like, okay, the new normal is this with this in my arm, and then everything's going to get better. Well, who got to decide that anything was in the middle? They just used fear and a pandemic, which wasn't even really proving to be true, to take all our will away, all our power away, and do it through fear.
Exactly.
So we're fragmented right now, and we need to get unfragmented, and that's through truth and through having a discussion. It's like, do I love my body? Can I trust what I'm doing to my body? And am I doing it for someone else, or am I doing it for me? And it has to be for me every time. So.
Exactly. So yeah, that's amazing. That's true. So in this way, I feel that people can actually come back to themselves. At least they can start to feel their own body, start to feel themselves. Now, as they start to feel themselves, the process actually starts then, because they will be facing everything they have been actually running away by not feeling themselves, not feeling their body.
So what's the steps you're saying to do that? Let's recap it and recollect it here.
So the thing which I'm saying here is um, um, people have to question themselves for everything they are going through. Now, to actually create a foundation, they have to question themselves. They have to dive inner deeply. They have to dive inward, and then when they actually feel themselves for everything they have been running from, because they will see that everything is connected. For everything they have been running from is exactly they are facing outside, and they are surviving with the system itself. So do they want it? So there is an inner contradiction always happening within themselves.
Right. Well, it comes back to what you were saying, the conscious creation. This is the element of awakening, to start to not trust everything that's subconsciously programmed in your choices every day. It's like, I'm choosing this. Why? Asking questions, starting to consciously create and say, I don't want to please everybody else. I want my body to be safe. So what choice can I now make if I choose me?
Exactly.
And it might have been in the no column before. You couldn't say it, but now you're consciously awakening and saying, no, my body says that doesn't feel good and I'm not going to do it. And that can be okay.
Yeah.
So
I cannot see one moment. It's a break. So I cannot see your live going on Facebook. It's not opening up anymore.
Oh, check it again. I can see it going, and Randy's putting comments in. Just maybe refresh the page.
Oh, it's I cannot display it anymore. That's exactly what it's saying. Anyway, I'll just check it out one more time.
Weird.
I guess.
Now let me try it in another browser. We'll just make sure. Hopefully we didn't get blocked or something. Very strange.
No, it's happening. it's happening.
It's back. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Another
guess so.
window shows it. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Just little internet. Every once in a while, your internet slows down, and I'm not sure what causes that, but it catches up eventually.
So yeah, so I would really love to speak about this thing which Randy said. Personality wants to leave also. So yeah, for sure, heart personality really love to leave. Now I'll give one example which I actually went through myself. So I'm just speaking it because I just got aware of that, and I have been speaking that same thing with my students. So I have my two students. One he lives in London, another person lives in Winnipeg in Canada. So I told them that, oh, guys, I know you for 2 years, like 1 year right now, and we are kind of like family. So I have a tendency. I was very much honest with them. I have a tendency that now, if new students are joining, what I'll be doing is there is a tendency to be partial because uh, I know you guys for a long time now. There is a deep connection happening between you and me, but in that way I won't be feeling the same pull and same connection with them. So but in the other way, it's not that I'm not actually loving my new students or I'm loving them, because this is the persona of the heart, because there is a deep ego in the heart. It stays, that ego wants to leave also. And I understand that, I completely understand that ego wants to leave also, that but until and unless that ego is dissolved in the heart space, the true self cannot really come out. Then that true self is unconditionally loving everyone and in acceptance of everything, and is completely aligned with the purpose, because somewhere or the other, this ego in the heart space who really wants to leave is aligned with the soul purpose, but it's still in some way, it's as it is ego, it's still living separated, not actually completely one with everything. It's kind of
Integrated.
like
Yep.
it.
Yep. You need to live with an ego. It just cannot control. I don't know if you've ever read the Course in Miracles, but in the ACIM, or A Course in Miracles, it speaks of the mad thought, and it speaks that we were all God and everything was perfect and nobody was fragmented. And then one day somebody said, was some part of God thought, what if I was fragmented? And it was instantly created. And to be able to keep it fragmented, the ego was created. It was an insertion between you and your God self to keep you separate. It was a construct that said, you're in fear. Oh, you did something wrong. Oh, you mustn't deserve God anymore. And it always kept us lower density so that we could live that experience. But the ego ran amok. It wanted to control everything, and it doesn't know any better because it's of the mind, where we need to come back to the heart. And this heart knows that, yes, I need ego to be able to compete with other people and to have discernment and other things, but it cannot run the show, or else it spoils the whole cake, basically. So we're learning to balance our ego, and it's a part of us, but it can't run the show, which it has for so long.
Yeah, that's true.
I hear people talk about ego deaths and all this kind of shit, and it's just spiritual bypassing as far as I'm concerned. It's like, oh, I'm not bad in any way, shape, or form. No, you got to have your rage and your anger and your fear. That's part of being human. And if you don't have that, you don't have your power. It's like, oh, I'm just a good little boy, or I can't be rage. Well, fuck, I can be rage. We're all dark and light. We're 100% God, and God is everything. So if you take dark as bad, crazy, right?
I truly agree to what you said, and also what Randy said here. The misuse of ego is the delusion. The misuse is the fallen ego, or I call it that. Yeah, that's true. I agree to that. True ego is soul level. So how I can put it is, when the ego is being misused, it's kind of like there is no conscious presence. The person is not having conscious presence. Now, if there is conscious presence, then there is complete acceptance of the self.
But it's that usually personal loss that the ego wins, right? To the human.
Yeah.
To keep you low and under control, in low vibration. Yep. Yeah, I agree with both of you.
Another thing is now to create foundation. What we are talking about is, yeah, that's true. Misuse of ego is used to control. So
And
yeah,
and
I
what's
second that.
controlling us is a whole bunch of other people's egos right now. So agreed.
So now what I there is something else, like this is also something I experienced. Now people really wants to be slaving the system. Some people really wants to slave the system. Now they are not really
Comfortable.
aware. And
Yeah,
they're
people.
yeah. So the thing which you talked about in your previous videos about free will, now now their free will is to serve the system. So they're not really aware what true free will is about. Now someone can be freely having a free will to actually um, put this sharp pain into someone's eyes, this free will, but it's not conscious.
Yep.
They're not really using their free will consciously. The free will is not conscious.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that people should, beside questioning themselves, I feel that people should really understand that what is true freedom,
Mm-hmm.
what is really true freedom, and how they can actually freely breathe and be themselves. It all starts from questioning thyself, and that's exactly how people can become aware. How I just keep it like this: 3 A's: awareness, acceptance, and action. Awareness leads to acceptance. Acceptance leads to discernment of what is and what is not, and then action consciously. Now I know what I'm aware of, what is actually happening, and I'm acceptance of the truth, or through discernment I am knowing, oh, this is the truth, and I'm filtering out what is not needed, and consciously acting towards what the reality which I truly want to create. That's exactly how conscious creation can happen. I put it like 3 A's: awareness, acceptance, and action.
So most people understand what hypnotism is and what trance is. So a good example is you get in the car and you drive to work every day, exactly the same road, and you don't even remember driving on the road to get to work or what happened. You just know you got to work and it was safe, etc. That's the trance that most of us are in through TV, radio, electronic energies that are going on around us. It just puts us in that lull of everything's safe, decisions are being made for me. And the less you get out of that trance, the less your subconscious is making the decision for you. And most people are living in that trance. They're not aware that a suggestion is being put in. It's like, oh, put the color yellow in, and this is going to change your feeling, and this kind of stuff. It's all being consciously used by those egos that Randy was talking about for control, to keep you from going out of what the safety is you have right now. And that could be a horrible safety where you're barely making money and all this kind of stuff, but it's a safety that feels comfortable. But we haven't learned, or we haven't had the experience to feel something that's uncomfortable good, like real good pleasure, or going down the end of the roller coaster and that feeling of exhilaration, but we call it fear because it's scary and it makes our heart change and drop. This is the experience we want to get the soul back into, the body into, is fully feeling that integration, like you were saying, of every choice. Does this feel good in my heart? Is this hurting my body? Is this good? Is this bad for me? Without having to make a choice of how it affects anybody else first. And it's not selfishness. Everybody's taught that selfish is bad. Selfish is the most important thing you can ever do first when you make a decision. And it's not like I'm taking all the pudding because it's all mine or whatever. Selfish is, I'm not going to help you move your house when you never helped move my house ever before because I'm such a good person. That's being used. That's not selfish. That's boundaries. That's making personal choice. So a lot of what we'll call selfish is actually boundaries. And we really, really, really need boundaries. And that's going to save us, and that's going to get us back to feeling safe in our body and get back to feeling in our body. We talked about this earlier. I don't think it was part of this, but most of us are so much living in fight and flight and fear and other things. We're about a foot. Our energy is about a foot above our body because we don't want to be in our body. Our body's tight. It's full of pain. It's suffering. It's uncomfortable. we got to get back in our body, feel safe, feel calm, feel loved, go for a bath, feel grounded, and then make a decision.
And what do you truly feel? Yeah, true. What do you truly feel about this? The thing which you said about boundaries. Boundaries are very much needed.
Mhm.
And I would call the thing which I realized about it, I just got aware of it, that boundaries is always there, because for soul, boundaries are natural, but for ego, boundary is not.
No. Ego wants to please others, and it wants to be validated, and it wants to be all these things. None of those things really help you be a better person. It just takes your power away.
Yeah, that's exactly so. Now, as the ego is conscious that now ego learns to have boundaries by experiencing what it experienced without having boundaries. Now I need to put boundaries. Yes, that's so. Now ego is putting boundaries. Now ego doesn't know that if I put too much of boundaries, because I don't want to experience what I experience without having boundaries, I will be completely limiting myself in self-preservation, because I want to preserve myself.
Okay. Now, let's ask the people listening to this, where have you got those inverted lessons in your life every day because you haven't put a boundary? It's like, I heard this the other day. Debt is actually an inverted boundary. If you honor debt, it's actually verts the other way. Like they think they should take advantage of you and start charging more interest and all this kind of stuff. And it's this inverted polarity of the inverted matrix that keeps causing debt and keeps having people that want to put you in debt, when really it's a reverse boundary. It's like, fuck, I would have never even taken that in the first place. I should have never even, but now it's existing and it's getting worse. So it's really, really important to have people hear what you just said, because we get the inverted version of our lack of a boundary, and then about it all the time, but we're not seeing that we caused it. And now people are just showing up to keep us being poked to say, are you realizing this? Are you realizing this? And yet they're not.
Exactly. Yep.
So
the thing which needs to be done here is to have a conscious boundary. Like, what is truly boundary now? Going in the other side of it, it's complete self-preservation. Now, if I'm preserving completely, I'm preserving myself, which is okay, fine, I understand. But completely preserving myself, there is nearly no chance for expansion of the self, no experience, because in what I learned about in like, if we talk about kundalini right now, just saying, the first thing, the kundalini has the snake, as the metaphorically as it says, that the kundalini serpent has 3.5 folds. The first fold means tamas, which means inertia. There is no movement, and hence no movement, there is no experience. And if there is no experience, there is no expansion. There is nothing is coming in. It's there. And that's exactly what I was talking about. So yeah, so too much of boundaries can make one person be very much limiting, I guess. That's exactly how
boundaries can go both ways, right? Boundaries can almost be armor, right? It's like, my boundary is I'm not going to go dating with men because I got raped by a man. That can be considered a boundary, but it's going to block you out of all sexuality or all intimacy with a man from that day forward. So there's good boundaries and bad boundaries, but are you doing them from fear, or are you doing them from self-expansion? It's like, oh, geez, the last time I did this, I didn't get served. So I'm going to insist that men are clear about what they want or their intentions are. Instead of saying, I'm not going to go out with men anymore, maybe you'll do something a little bit different. Those are newer boundaries that allow opening, and boundaries have to be changing in the minute and in the moment, because one from fear at the beginning, it's like, oh, keep me safe by, I just want to kiss or whatever. But then the energy flows after you've kissed, and that was enough boundary. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh, now I want to touch. Now I want to hug. Now I want to have sexuality or whatever. But those boundaries will change in every moment. You just have to be willing to put them up until you get safe and comfortable and you have trust, and then you can back them off. And then eventually, once you got enough trust with a person, no boundaries are even required, because they're just implicit and you can read each other's energies. But very few of us have that full trust of the process of energies, because everybody's confused.
Exactly. And when there is this full trust and full understanding and presence, and the energy is completely flowing, and there is boundaries, how I can actually say it, because if there are just two souls, they are actually in that natural boundary. There is this natural boundary, there is no mental interference. So I have to be this much, I have to actually do it this much boundary, this much thick boundary, this much small. No, nothing is there. So yeah.
But boundaries are just implied safety margins, and they're like a cage, literally. Like some of these places where they teach boundaries, it's like put a big honking cage around everything and honor your boundaries all the way through. But things flow in the moment, and you lose out on so much by putting these really hard boundaries. It's like, to start, here's the boundary. It's like, oh, you can come to my doorstep, but I don't want you any further. Oh, I trust you now. Now you can come in my door. Oh, I trust you some more. Now you can sit on my couch. Oh, now I trust you and you can have a shower in my shower. Now they each change, but until you put that person in that new container, how did they respond? Are they respectful? Are they feeling caged? Are they whatever? And people that are safe with themselves, they can use those so beautifully. And then eventually it's like, okay, I've set the whole boundaries of our whole relationship, and I had to dissolve them all because I now trust you to do the right thing all the time.
Exactly.
Magic. But to honor yourself, you have to trust that they're going to honor those things until they're not needed anymore. And that's true trust. That's how a relationship should be built on. I really think I have this concept that I want to teach more about, but where instead of dating, we go into a 3-month relationship with contract with somebody that we love, we're interested in sexually, we want to have a relationship with. And you go in and you negotiate right from the beginning. This is the kind of sexuality like. These are my boundaries. We're not going to run away. We're always going to have a discussion. We can't leave the relationship until the end. And then at the end, everybody says, you have a yes or no question. Do you want to continue? And it's completely okay to either be yes or no. But if you really honor the other person, it's like, I loved you, but you had a few too many boundaries, or you had too many restrictions, and give feedback before the relationship closes so that now people can improve. But you can trust that person because you spent sexual time with them, you were intimate with them, you had arguments and all these things, and you had 3 months to sit there and do your inner work and to be held in your shadow and those kind of things. And I bet you in three of those relationships, by then you're going to work out all your shit from relationships in the past and do all your spiritual work. And by then you're going to start drawing in the people that are completely in alignment with what you want, because you said what you want and you trust that person. Like, that's the depth that we need to have in our connection with people, and have these containers and have these community standards and ways of interrelating so that you can be vulnerable and self-responsible and accountable and impeccable and all this kind of stuff, to hold people so they feel safe just by being around you. It's like,
Exactly.
oh, I don't like this right now. And maybe it's a little direct, but I'd sure prefer to say I don't like this than to sit with I don't like this over and over and over again until I speak up. That was my fault. It wasn't the other person's fault. The other person was doing what they thought was right until you're saying, well, that doesn't feel good or whatever. It was magic. So this is our learnings every day and with every person. So shut down in about 7 minutes here, but continue. I just have that'll be 12:30 my time. So
yeah. So you have to go right now?
Well, I can go in about 7. I can maybe make it 15 minutes at the longest, but I got some things to do today.
So I have to check my time right now. I guess 7 minutes would be great.
Okay, perfect.
7 minutes, because I'll have to call my home right now.
Okay. So, well, let's start winding it down and giving it a beautiful conclusion.
So the thing is that so I'm just reading this thing
from
when he said, well, he said something really nice stuff. So of course, when we spiritualize, we don't need no boundaries, we dance. And that's true. Oops, in spirit, no boundaries. Yeah, that's exactly. So in spirit, there is no boundaries, of course. And spirit is kind of inclusive spirit. Like, what I can do is right now, my spirit is already one with all. There is no boundaries out there. So I am including you as a part of myself. I'm including Randy as a part of myself. And it's already there. It's inclusive. And now the mind is understanding what the spirit is already. So that's exactly what it is. So thank you, Randy. Thank you. Bless you. Blessings. It was really nice to have you here. So now the thing is that it's very important for people to come in awareness, because to live in awareness, not in ignorance, to actually truly build a life and a foundation of joy, abundance, and in a security where there is love for the self truly, and sharing is going on with others whom we love. This has to be there, living by awareness than living in ignorance, because there the ego is not conscious. Now ego has to be conscious, because until and unless ego is conscious, there is a power struggle, and as long as there are power struggles, there is control, and there is fragmentation. So the thing is, people are not really feeling whole and whole within themselves, and people are giving their power to the others. So the ego needs to be conscious and have a conscious presence, and that power which happens, like people, those who are truly seeking power outside, that's exactly how they are going through power struggles within themselves. So the way we said that, bringing that power back and becoming conscious of the self and living through that, living through awareness, because that's exactly how they can, if they intend to, they can create a foundation the way they want it, because how they want it is their choice, how they will go. But living through awareness matters the most here. In that way, there will be no power struggles, and there will be no seeking power outside to have control over the others. That's exactly how it will be.
I'll add to that, to live in awareness is what you said was a key term. So to live in awareness means to take a pause before you make every decision, to start to feel into your body and make sure you're grounded, and understand your why for a second before you speak, before you put into creation. Like that conscious creation is like, okay, am I doing this from fear? Am I doing this from trying to get the other person to stop? Or am I doing this from understanding? And the awareness is awareness of self. What's the response in my body? Am I tight? Am I upset? Is my ego here right now? Am I doing it because I got an energy of anger or something going in? And you're not going to respond in the best possible way. You're going to be responding in a lesson kind of way. It's like, am I going to get a response? Where if we can understand our trigger underneath, we can start to say, okay, this is not about this person, but I'm expressing some dissatisfaction with the way they've stood in their power or other things. You're going to probably be angry and you're going to say, what the fuck did you say that for? And blah, blah, blah. When really you should take a breath and say, hold on. Okay, that's my dad coming through to me. I'm going to have to set aside and look at my dad later. But in this moment, I got this trigger to now know that I got to look at that, but it doesn't belong to you. Exactly. And from that awareness, I can now all of a sudden be passionate and say, okay, I agree with you. Shit, you triggered the shit out of me. I'm going to go back and look at that before I respond to this. But thank you for bringing that up, because it's something off. Your soul probably knew it and was doing things in a certain way to try and help me find that. But all too often we're like, you fucking asshole, why the hell did you say that? Why are you triggering me so much or whatever? And it's projected back at the person that's only trying to assist them in moving through it. Or maybe you needed that anger projected back to you for your own triggers that now you're healing through. But if we don't look at interaction as opportunities for new awareness of our whys, that's the key of awareness in every moment, is just listening and listening inside of our body. So listening to what you say, how does that make me feel? How does that make me react? And now responding from conscious awareness of what's come up and what the energy is in this moment. That's awareness. That's awakened. That's fully embodied. That's fully in the process of ascending and improving the vibration, not propagating more wound because I have a wound and I need you to be wounded so you stop, but instead understanding and like, oh, I hear that. maybe I don't agree with that, but I don't know the reasons why until I go look inside. Let's talk next time about that.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Because most of life is just an argument after an argument, especially a relationship where you're just poking and trying to figure out why, but you never get the chance or the health space to be able to deal with it. And
That's true. Yeah.
if we can create community and we can talk like this and get people aware, it's the biggest gift we can ever give to anyone.
Yeah, of course. At least for how I say it is, the sun is always out there. The sun is always out there, and if people really like, we can do this. And of course, if people really wants to be aware and work on themselves, they will always be helped, because they just have to go outside and see the sun. That's all. It's just outside. It's just there.
Right.
So
you could see that sun is hot, too bright, too imposing, all this kind of stuff. Or you can say, holy frick, this is beautiful and it's light and I'm feeling blessed. It's all a choice in the moment.
Yeah. Yes. So as the thing is that they also have the free will to choose free will, conscious living, or not conscious living. They can choose to be where they are and give their power away, give their energy away to something which is just against themselves. As long as they are working against themselves, they will exactly keep on working against themselves. Yep. Exactly. So it's important that from their free will, they choose their own selves first. And that's exactly how they can become aware, and they can actually create a better life, not only for themselves, but for everyone, as everything is connected.
Like everything example for others to follow, literally, because you don't fix them, you just say it. Now I'm feeling good, how are you? And they want that.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it is.
So in conclusion, it came up, I'd love to do a live on how we share a collective reality with our own perceived reality based on our experience. So to show people how we sit in a space and the color red is a color red because somebody showed us something that was what they perceived as red, but it's all based on the reality of who first chose that color was called red. But your mother could show you a green and you could live a whole life as green. And every time I talk about red, you picture green, because it's a perceived reality. How we interpreted everything that happened to us gives us a similar frame of reference. This is an automobile, this is a whatever, but how much different everybody's reality is based on their perception and past experience.
Exactly. I'll just put another thing out here.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm so sorry about it.
No.
You're going to say something? Okay, so, and that's exactly so. You were there, you were in front of me, I'm in front of you. I just keep one number between us. I just keep a 9. You can see it as 6. So I'll just say, okay, this is 9. Oh no, this is 6. But until unless I go from there and say, oh, actually this is 6. So it's in the same way. So yeah, we can do something about that.
It gets really cool, because once you can be aware that the other person's perception can make the same thing completely different, if it's based on trauma, if it's based on love, if it's based on whatever, the same words can mean something completely different to another person. Exactly. So I think it would be good to do a deep dive and just explain the philosophy of that, so that people can start to have compassion that another person's experience may be different, so that you can hold space as they're processing an overbearing father or whatever. Now you see all men as very overbearing, but other people can see fathers that are powerful as more dominant, and they like that because that makes them feel safe. Those little tiny bits, when we get people to start to be consciously aware of it, creates compassion. And that people's perspectives can be different, and there's never any right. It's all based on your reality and how you were grown up and what you were taught, and etc. So
exactly. Like, I would really love to say another thing, but it's already too late. But it's about compassion. It's about compassion. Another thing which I realized about compassion is it cannot be faked.
Mhm.
It
Agreed.
cannot be faked, and the mind is always trying to shift into, oh, this is compassion. This looks like compassion because,
Mhm.
but this is not. One
A
of the
lot of
things
people
which
get in sympathy instead of compassion, and it's very different. Yep.
it's a very different thing. I feel for compassion to be there, there has to be one thing, like five things at least.
Hmm.
One of the one of the five. The first thing is um, the true knowing which is there in the heart,
Hmm.
knowing about something, to have compassion in some moment when the self is not able to have compassion, but still the self wants to have compassion. So to
Hmm.
find compassion within, I feel that there is a true knowing what can be, what the choice can be in that moment.
Hmm.
So that knowing, that soul's knowing, leads to calming the intellect, because if the intellect is not calm,
Hmm.
then a lot of mess can happen. If the intellect is not calm, choices can happen, just not consciously. Conscious choice cannot happen in that moment. So if the intellect is calm, through knowing of what is the true knowing in the heart, intuition, or in that way, you can just say it.
Hmm.
The next thing is no rush, no rush, because people can rush. So having patience, which calms the mind becomes comes through patience. Patience has to be like, it needs to be trained for those who doesn't have patience. The next thing is love, which comes the heart.
Hmm.
The next thing is surrendering, which comes the body.
Hmm.
And the next thing, which is justice.
Hmm.
In justice comes the soul,
Hmm.
the soul which is not connected with the spirit. In this way, the five things are calm. Intellect is calm, mind is calm, heart is calm, body is calm,
Hmm.
and soul is also calm. In that way, there is a clear connection to the source of
Hmm.
all that is, which is the soul itself.
Hmm.
uh, After that, I don't feel that the person cannot actually feel compassion. The
Hmm.
compassion will flow through it, because with intellect, mind, heart, body, and soul, rather, like, except these, there is nothing. So
And I really think the most important definition, all those things that you said are completely true, but is to witness and observe and accept exactly how it is in the moment, not fix, oh, you should have done this different or whatever. All those things that you're saying are flowing underneath, but you have to witness it, know that it's been there, it's happened, and accept and surrender. All those words that you took about it, it's no longer an action, it's no longer a feeling, it's just, it is.
it
And a
is
calm
the
and an acceptance, that's compassion.
yes,
You can be sharing the worst thing that ever happened to you in the world, and I'm just holding a container, surrounding you with love, listening.
yes,
Compassion isn't fixing, or I sympathize with you and here, try this, try that, or don't do that again, or whatever. Fuck, that's based on my experience. I want to see you in your experience and hear it in your rawness so you can be free.
exactly.
That's the magic.
That is, yeah, that's exactly. So I guess we can talk about this thing what you said in a live about the
Yeah, we'll
collective
go
reality.
offline and decide something early next week or something, and
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for
maybe
sure,
we'll do something a couple times a week or whatever. You tell me
for
what
sure.
feels good. And
I am kind of, I am free about it. I'm free. So whenever you say, I'm just ready. Only on the Saturdays I'm kind of packed.
okay, we'll make sure it's during the week. But I just want a free streaming flow of consciousness of what we're believing and what we know to be true, and let people listen and make their own choice.
Yeah. So
That's magic.
that's magic. Yeah. So yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you to you, and
Thank
thank
you
you to
very
everybody
much.
that's joined, and Randy and Cricket as well. I see she just joined. Um, take a listen. There's a lot of beautiful stuff been shared, and we're going to
I
share some more.
am not able to hear you.
Uh-oh. Okay, we'll finish. Thank you. I don't know what's going on. Just one second. It's showing it. It must be
No,
your
no.
end.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay. Love you all. Have a good one. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.
Namaste.